This is The Ring of Fire. I'm Josh Gay, and on Saturday, the President of the United States stood on Air Force One and told Americans that Iran bombed its own girls' school. Of course, video emerged that proved him wrong almost immediately. And a reporter was brave enough to ask why Trump was the only person in his government making such an outrageous claim. His answer, because I just don't know enough about it.
You just suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a Tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
Because I just don't know enough about it. I think it's something that I was told is under investigation. But Tomahawks are used by others, as you know.
That's your president, running an active war, admitting on camera that he made a public accusation about who killed more than 170 children without knowing enough about it. And then in the same breath, he just kept going with the lie. He suggested that Iran might have done it anyway, with Tomahawk missiles that Iran never owned.
Numerous other nations have Tomahawks. They buy them from us. But I will certainly, whatever the report shows, I'm willing to live with that report.
The chairman of the Joint Chiefs had already said on the record that the United States Navy Tomahawks opened this war. Absolutely insane that Donald Trump would make this crap up. And I know that we've mentioned this school bombing. I know that we've talked about the death toll and the AI involvement. But my focus right here is simply the president's default position being lie to save face, no matter how much the evidence contradicts you right then and there. I mean, even after he admitted that he didn't know the details, he kept the lie going. And I also want to flag that when he first said this lie on Air Force One, Hegseth, the defense secretary, was standing 3 feet behind him on Air Force One. Hegseth just said, "We're certainly investigating." He didn't agree with the president, and he would never dare correct the president. Just, "We're investigating." And that's what you get when the loyalist Secretary of Defense won't back up the Commander-in-Chief about who killed children in their own war. That is a big effing deal. And just to recap this timeline, February 28th, the first day of the Epstein election epic fury, the girls' elementary school in Minab, Iran, is struck during school hours. We know of at least 168 children and 14 adults killed. Most of the students between 7 and 12 years old. Satellite analysis from CBS and NPR showed that there was buildings adjacent to an old Navy base. This Navy base was struck simultaneously. There was obviously coordinated precision targeting. But the pictures they used were old. There was a fence separating the school from the military compound, and it wasn't in pictures from before 2016. And it's important to note that this base had been largely inactive for years, but the school was not. Our military was operating on old data. Then on March 7th, Air Force One, Trump asked about the school, and his answer was, quote, "Based on what I've seen, that was done by Iran. They're very inaccurate, as you know, with their munitions. They have no accuracy whatsoever." He offered no evidence. Hegseth, right behind him, said, "We're certainly investigating." Then the next day, Iranian state media releases new footage, a 7-second clip filmed from a housing development right across the street. And it shows a missile slamming into a building inside this compound. You can see the video for yourself right here. Ooh. And as the camera pans, smoke is already rising from the school, meaning the school was hit first. And reporters were all over this. NBC News geolocated the footage. The New York Times verified it. CNN, NPR, Bellingcat, they all analyzed it. And all their experts say that this looked like a Tomahawk cruise missile on a targeted strike, intentionally striking those buildings. This wasn't a misfire, and it wasn't Iranian munitions. And yes, other countries do use the Raytheon Tomahawk. The UK, Australia, Japan, they're not involved here. And Iran is not one of the countries that has the Tomahawk. And again, the US already said we opened the war with our Tomahawk missiles at a Pentagon press conference right after the strike. Dan Kane, the general, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said on record, quote, "The first shooters at sea were Tomahawks unleashed by the United States Navy." On the record, U.S. Navy Tomahawks opened this war. And yet Trump's out there telling the country that Iran did it with the same missiles. And yeah, he admitted he had no basis for this accusation and then re-floated the same accusation, just dressed up a different way. Iran doesn't have Tomahawks. They've never had Tomahawks. And there is no version of reality in which Iran secretly acquired American cruise missile technology on the first day of the war and then used it to bomb their own school in a war they didn't even start. Trump said it, then he said he didn't know enough. Then he suggested it still might be true. And then the icing on the cake. Trump has said he is, quote, willing to live with whatever the investigation finds. He's willing to live with it. Nearly 170 children. That's what he's willing to live with. It's absolutely a shame. Doesn't it seem like our feeds are getting filled with more and more BS right-wing MAGA content? It's no secret that all these top tech bros are in love with the current regime, so it's no surprise that independent left-leaning media is being squashed by the algorithm. If you like our content and content like us, it doesn't take long to click that thumbs up, share, comment, or subscribe. So please help us keep the truth alive.